At what point should you think about shipping bulk to your best-selling geographic, whether that's the States, the UK, or any other country? And that's what we're going to be talking about today's video. At what point do you transition from China fulfillment or international fulfillment and purchase lots of product in bulk and ship them to your best-selling destination? So we're going to cover quite a lot in this video, and it should, by the time you've watched it to the end, it should answer your question: are you ready, or should you wait until there's a better time? And included in this video is going to be a free spreadsheet which will help you calculate the cost to see if it's viable. So without further ado, let's get cracking.
Right, there are three main advantages to shipping in bulk. The first, and probably the most obvious, is that when you're purchasing in bulk, you get better pricing. So whether that's because of better quantity breaks, so some suppliers will offer that. The more you order, the more you save, and also it just gives you better bartering power, simply because you're spending more money. You can twist the supplier's arm because obviously they don't want to miss out on a good sale. The next is it's kind of same thing, where the more you send in terms of bulk freight, you get better shipping rates. So if you're only sending like 10 kg or whatever, well, first of all, you can't send 10 kg. The minimum is 21 kg to be able to use bulk freight. But when you're sending thousands of kg, tons and tons, you're going to get much better shipping rate, a cheaper rate than you would when sending lighter consignments. The next is the domestic shipping benefits. Obviously, once it arrives in that destination country, whichever you're going to be fulfilling from, say the United States as an example, you're going to get really fast delivery. So obviously you whichever fulfillment company you work with, or 3PL you work with in the States, you expect your customers to be able to receive them within 2 to 5 days, depending on what state they're in, etc. And generally speaking, there'll be a lower loss or damage rate in comparison to sending dropshipping internationally. And then the third and final is you're also able to offer returns and replacement service. Customers can return their goods to a US warehouse instead of sending it all the way back to China, and overall it's just a better customer experience. You being able to list on your website or store US stock, local stock, if you were brave enough as well, you might even want to say US made, etc. But just an idea. I wouldn't recommend that. So what do you have to consider when you want to go down the road of bulk shipment and stop doing China fulfillment? Well, the first thing is the product itself. You want to ideally be selling a product with minimal SKUs. So, for example, you wouldn't want to sell or bulk ship shoes or clothes or anything like that, because there's just way too many SKUs. One say a dress or a pair of jeans or whatever, you've got different sizes, you've got different colours, then you've got the fitment issues and problems and the returns and all of that. So you're talking too much, ordering too much, and in terms of how much you have to fork out for the stock itself is just going to be way too much. Whereas if you've only got one SKU, you can just say, okay, you're going to order 1,000, 2,000 or even 10,000 units. Whereas if you're ordering clothing or shoes, you're going to have thousands of however many SKUs you have. So you'd have to order 1,000 red shoes, 1,000 blue shoes, 1,000 whatever, and then you have to multiply that again by the size, size 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. You get my point. So you would have to ideally, unless you're doing like really good volume, you've got really consistency, you've been selling these items for like a year plus, and you've got the data there, you've got all of the, how much you're selling on a monthly basis of what SKU, what are the hot sellers, and then it's much easier to forecast what SKUs you need to order and how many of them. Other examples of products which aren't ideal to send are big bulky products, because obviously when you're sending freight, it's not like cross-border e-commerce, dropshipping from China, where if you had a product, it's not, the majority of parcels aren't charged by volumetric weight, which means you pay for the actual weight, not the size of the item. Whereas when it comes to freight, well, it's whichever's heaviest. When it comes to freight, it's whatever's heaviest. So if you're bulk shipping an empty shoebox, you're going to be paying for the size of that shoebox, not for the weight of it. So if the weight is only 200 grams, but the calculation of the size of that will probably come to something like, 2 kg. That's what you're actually going to spend. That's how much the freight is going to be calculated at. So that's why you want to avoid big bulky products, especially if they're relatively cheap, because the value, the representative value is very very bad. So that's the basics. Just make sure the product itself is viable from a logistics standpoint. Something that's hopefully not too many SKUs, something that isn't too big and bulky, and is relatively cheap product. Then should be fine. But again, by the time you get to this point of shipping in bulk abroad, you should know all your numbers, and you should compare how much is it actually going to save you money shipping in bulk in comparison to fulfilling from China. The next subject you need to take into consideration is geographics. So, sending to the US, the cost per kg if sending via sea freight is something like, $3, depending on how much you send. If you're sending thousands of tons, it's going to be much cheaper than that. But just to give you a very rough and general guide, it's going to cost something like $3 per kg. Again, that is based on the weight of your consignment. So whether that's charged by actual weight or volumetric weight, it's 3 kg. The destination, so once it does arrive in your country, what are your costs going to be over there? Like, just like finding a fulfillment company or agency in China is exactly the same abroad. There's good ones, there's bad ones, there's cheap ones, there's more expensive ones. So you need to know what your costs are going to be from start to finish, and also you have to consider which state is going to be the most beneficial for you. So some states, their running costs are higher, so will the fulfillment fees, they will be higher. Also depends where your sales are coming from. For example, if a lot of your sales, or the majority of your sales, are coming from the East Coast, then you would want to preferably find a 3PL or fulfillment company in the East Coast, because your fulfillment fees or your shipping costs from that state to your customers is going to be much more cost effective. The next one is comes down to planning. So a big thing is time of the year. You want to avoid shipping bulk freight when you get the peak periods and surges. So around towards the end of the year, and it is usually when it gets really busy because everyone wants to try and get everything out before Chinese New Year. And also you get the really big players such as Apple and Sony, and when they're launching new products, they will literally buy up crap loads of containers and freight boats to send their goods all around the world, and that obviously causes congestion as well. So you have to. A perfect example is if Sony's PlayStation 5 launch, such high demand, they obviously couldn't get. Obviously, they couldn't. The capacity wasn't enough anyway, but it's still there's still a congestion issue, and a really bad time of the year with obviously COVID happening still going on, and then freight rates increasing, and then just a shortage of containers, and literally almost everything that could go wrong went wrong. And this is part of the reason why there's such high shipping rates even till now, container rates rather. So make sure you try and plan around really big player launches and holiday seasons and peak seasons, because that could make or break it. There was one a perfect example was a client. We tried to get everything out, I think way before Chinese New Year, but unfortunately there was a massive issue at customs and they got stuck, and then UPS on the US side had issues with delays and backlog, and it took something like three months. Actually, some parcels, some consignments actually didn't arrive until like 4 months later. So when it goes wrong, it can go wrong quite big. So you have to try and what I would recommend is sometimes even splitting the consignment up. So if there is a delay or an issue with customs, that at least it's coming through in dribs and drabs, and you do get part of the consignment instead of like the complete consignment just getting held up, and you've got all these sales and you can't send them out. Freight rates, again, this is obviously a massive thing. You want to try and benefit from using the most cost-effective way, which is sea freight. Although, as you know, it's the longest transit times, on average between 1.5 to 2 months, with all custom clearance and stuff. Of course, custom clearance can vary, but the actual transit time is something like, I don't know, 20 days, whatever it is. But all in all, with the getting everything arranged within China, getting it to the freight forwarder, transit time to the States, then custom clearance, and the handover to UPS or whoever's the last mile courier is, it takes quite a lot of planning actually, and that's why it's really important to try and find an agent or fulfillment company or even freight forwarder to try and help manage all of this. So if you are sending, the average product will need to be, for it to be really cost effective and for it to work in terms of profit margins, you have to send sea freight. In comparison, so as I said, about around $3 is what you expect to pay to the US per kilogram. If you're sending via air freight, then you can expect to spend anything between 3 to 4 times that amount. So it can make a massive difference to your profit margins. If you're selling stuff like jewelry, which is very light, then you still get really good value when it comes to shipping rates, because they're so small and light. You can literally put thousands even in like a smallish box, and you don't have to send that many. You don't have to send tons of jewelry unless you're doing really well. So they're the main things. And what I've done in this video is also created a spreadsheet which can give you an idea or a guide rather of what you can expect to pay sending to the US via sea freight. So looking at this spreadsheet here, all you need to do is put in the box dimensions. So obviously you've got length, depth, height. So however many boxes you have, cartons, just enter the quantity and it will automatically calculate it. And then if you have a different size box, let's say 80, 50, again it will automatically calculate it. And this is all based on the $3 per kg. So if you found a fulfillment company that's offering $2, just change it here and it will automatically change the pricing. And again, this is just a very rough guideline of fulfillment company or 3PLs in the United States. This can vary greatly depending on who you use, which state they're in, also which state your customers are in, and this is based on service as well. So if you're using USPS, UPS, DHL, FedEx, whatever, it can vary a lot. And again, that the size, the weight of your product, this is just a very rough, as I said, guideline, just to give you an idea of what you kind of expect to pay. If you're just thinking about doing bulk shipment, you can base it on this spreadsheet, and then you can kind of roughly see, is it going to be worth it or not compared to how much you're paying at the moment for Chinese fulfillment. So once you've entered all of your box details, then the shipping cost is going to be calculated, and then you can also put down here, or you can calculate how much it's going to cost to send your, so say for example you're sending a 400, your product weighs 450 grams, just base it on this. So worst case scenario, it's going to be $5 shipping cost plus $2, so you're looking at $7 for your 3PL rates. Then say for example your total cost to send, I don't know, say 100 units is going to be £800. Alright, so it's going to cost you $8 per unit. So that's in effect going to be your cost of goods, and then obviously you're going to have to add however much the product costs, your advertising costs, and all of that stuff. But this is obviously just to base it on your getting it from China to the US, and then from your 3PL in the US to your end users, your customers. One thing I would like to add though is, please don't forget, this is based on volumetric weight. It's whatever is the heaviest. If you're sending weight plates, then it's obviously going to be heavier than this. So if you're sending, say in this box you have, I don't know, 10 kg weight plates, is going to be 100 kg. That's how much you're going to be charged on, not the size of the box. If the contents of the box is heavier than the size of the box based on the volumetric weight, that's what you pay. You pay whatever's highest. So bear that in mind. It's very simple. Once you've entered the box dimensions, you should know yourself how much that box weighs, or your freight forwarder or your supplier should know how much this box weighs. If it's heavier than whatever has been calculated here by this formula, then you need to replace this with whatever that is. So say for example your supplier says, okay, this box weighs 20 kilograms, then you need to just manually type in 20. If your supplier here says, okay, this weighs 20 kilograms, or whatever, 25 kilograms, then you leave this as it is, because you're going to be charged the heavier weight, the volumetric weight. I hope I've made that clear, and I hope this has been a useful video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm releasing similar videos like this, which I'm sure will help everyone out. So once again, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to ask them below. Thank you very much. Take care.